You know what's funny? I just meditated for a minute before I went live, and I could tell that the slowing down of all the thoughts was going to make me start off with a really low, not exciting tone. So, what may be good for your mental health is not necessarily going to be an exciting beginning. Oh, well. Anyway, welcome to this wrap up Wednesday for my January reads. My name is Margaret. Thanks for stopping by my channel. You're on BookTube. And what do we have for today? I'm going to be going through 13 books. And I didn't take detailed notes, so we may have to wait a minute while I retrieve the notes from my memory, if you'll bear with me. First, I wanted to say, what is your favorite January read? So I'll put that in the background so if people come in, they can tell where we are. And yeah, what is my favorite read of all these books? Well, I've got a fiction and a nonfiction. So I'll tell you as I go. I'm going to put these in categories of format this time. I don't normally do that, but they seem to group themselves this way. So before I jump into the first round, which is Libro.fm audiobooks, of which I read a few because I was doing a lot of driving last month, I'm going to tell you about upcoming attractions. So, upcoming attractions. Either way. So today is Wednesday for the wrap up. This Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific, I have a AuthorTube panel, or Auth panel as I'm trying to brand it. I don't know, I'm silly. It's historical plus romance authors. And so we're going to be talking about some fun things for the theme of the month, love, but also writing about the genre and historical and romance and how they go together, how they repel each other. Fun, exciting things. Who is on that panel, you ask? Nia of Vixen of Fiction, Leah of Pen to Paper, and Emily Harris of Author Emily Harris. So check that out. I've got the link right here, coincidentally. I'm so sly, so slick. You can't see me doing this at all. Shannon's here listening while driving. Hey, Shannon. Thanks so much for chiming in. I don't know. Have you mastered how to leave a comment while doing hands-off driving listening? That's impressive. Dan Hook is here. Hello, Dan. Currently having dinner, but listening in the background. Hope you're having a good day. I am. Thank you very much, Dan. So there is the link for everyone to see, to put that on the calendar if they're interested in a panel of author tubers who are talking about history and romance and those genres. Oh, look, Barrett's here. Barrett knows the secret. I only told him. How you doing, Barrett? Oh, man. And Dan is saying almost 5 subs. I was over it, and now I'm under it, so it's just going to do that for the next week, and that's fine. Barrett says I'm on gay time, but here. Shout outs to the Houston and the Barrett. Leo is listening from work today, but hey, hello, Leo. Awesome to see you. Dan, we love the new video. Barrett is saying yes, yes. And people are saying hello. Mr. Volandis is hi. Hello, everyone at work just listening. That seems to be the theme. Excellent. Well, while you're at work, let me employ my best radio voice to keep you entertained. That is our first upcoming attraction. Our next upcoming attraction will be on Sunday at 11 a.m. PST, my normal time. And for the Lovelorn, it's going to be another love-themed one, but this one is humorous. I thought that was the cat. It's just a water bottle. No worries. I'm going to be joined by Martha Jones of Self-Righteousness, and her idea of doing Mad Libs with Shakespearean sonnets is going to be put out to the world, and we're going to have some fun crowdsourcing some hilarious Shakespearean sonnets. So I have just put that event up. Feel free to put that on your calendar as well, so we can see you on Sunday and have so much laughter going on that we get ab workouts. That is the goal. So yeah, those are the 2 things we're looking forward to this week. And of course, the ongoing Black Author Tuber Readathon. So if you don't know about that, then you haven't been paying attention. But on to the first roundup of Libro.fm audiobooks. Let me take this down, put that up, and take that down and put this up. See how that was, wow. What's the motion we used to do when we were like so hot and impressed with ourselves? Like blowing something out and like, I don't remember. Anyway, that was pretty slick. Okay, so first of the books for January, I finished Night Country by Melissa Albert. This is a PNW author I was treated to be able to read. This is the sequel to, I can't remember the first book. It's Tales of the Hinterland, and it's a fantasy, pretty dark, pretty angsty young adult. So I think it would be called young adult fantasy. And I enjoyed the first one. I was surprised that it didn't go into a love story. It kept it to friendship and like tension. And this one, it goes a bit further and still plays with that expectation. So I really liked this. I think I gave it 4 stars. It was nice to listen to this one as opposed to reading the first one, I think. Yeah, really good read if you're up for a YA fantasy by a Pacific Northwest writer. I'm getting compliments on my radio voice. Thank you guys. Barrett says, I'm so excited for this. Love Martha, dying to collab with her. Yes! And she's the person that I was teasing about getting on a March panel for the first time live streaming. So this will actually be her first live stream, so we have some practice because I like holding people's hands and helping them break through the barriers to grow and thrive. So that is what's happening Sunday. People saying hello and great radio voice. That's my obnoxious radio voice, let's be honest. All right, so moving on from Night Country, we have Gold Diggers. Has anyone heard of this or read this one? This is by Sanjena Sathian, and it's a story set in southern U.S. With a Indian immigrant family, but also takes place a little bit in India. You get some backstory, some flashing back and forth. I heard about this one from A Mighty Blaze because this is a person's debut novel, so very cool. And the hook that got me was that it's a little bit of, yes, we're gonna grunt. Okay, it's a little bit of magical realism because there's something to do with gold and alchemy and doing something different to people to make them succeed. And so that bit of magic paired up with the immigrant work ethic and like trying to fit in America, I thought would be a really interesting match. It is a journey of a novel. There is a lot of like, heartrending going on in this, and desperation and coming to terms, and I really enjoyed it. It was a wild ride. It was satisfying, so I think I give this higher than 4 stars, but very good, so recommend this as well. Dan says, ooh, awesome. Barrett says, all community tab it. Sweet. Love that cover. Yeah, and Gold Diggers is beautiful cover. So for all of those who are all those of you who are listening at work, Gold Diggers is a beautiful green and yellow cover, and yeah, also attracted me. I mean, we do things based on looks. What can we say? The next audiobook that I listened to, and this one, I don't know if I gave it 5 stars, but it's very close, and that is Together, The Healing Power of Human Connection in a Sometimes Lonely World. This is by Vivek Murthy, the former Surgeon General under Obama. So this is a nonfiction book, obviously, that has a little bit of memoir in it, but is, 85% talking about the science, the sociology behind loneliness, and something that Vivek Murthy tackled as a Surgeon General looking into and trying to make this more of a scientifically researchable, treatable, talk aboutable type subject, because I think part of the problem with loneliness is that no one wants to admit they're lonely, and so then you just get into a positive feedback cycle that is negative for your mental health. So I'm sure YouTubers can't relate to this at all. That's not why we talk into the void and make friends across the miles, is it? But he did a really great job. He started this, I think, after he left the position of Surgeon General, but talked about some of the things he did in office and also a lot of the stuff that he had learned afterwards because of the opportunities he was given afterwards. And there is, like I said, a lot of science stuff, which is not usually my thing, but because it was about this thing that affects all of us and is so prevalent because of the pandemic, especially, I was just riveted. So I listened to a lot of this while weeding clover in the backyard. So that's going to be my forever memory with Vivek Murthy's together. And it's very positive. So yeah, I would definitely recommend this. It's very interesting talking about how we live in communities or lack communities, or examples of people who are innovating in this area and trying to connect people, like the men's sheds in the UK, and like people coming out of prison and having some kind of links with others and rehabilitation. So there are a lot of like really great things I'd never heard of, and that's why I would definitely love more people to read this and learn about those initiatives and innovations. So go together. The next book I have for you today is The End of White Politics by Zerlina Maxwell. Ooh, and I was going to look up, oh, I don't have to look it up yet. Okay, I'm going to recommend that you watch the 2-hour-long discussion between Jess Owens and Literature Science Alliance, which is Angela. They just discussed this book, I think 3 days ago, and I'm watching it in portions because, as I said, it's 2 hours plus. But they were talking about mediocre, and a lot of the things that they were talking about going through that book by Ijeoma Oluo sort of rang bells with me. I read that in December, and I read The End of White Politics by Zerlina Maxwell in January, and there are a lot of parallels. And I think that one, Mediocre, was more chatty, and Zerlina Maxwell's End of White Politics is more, this is the strategy you need to have. So if you're a politics junkie, Barrett, not calling anyone out here, this was short and sweet. At the beginning, it's a little dated because she wrote it between the primary and the general election of 2020. So there are things that like we don't care anymore, like other presidential candidates and stuff. But most of the time, she's pointing out how we choose strategy as Democrats here in the U.S. and why the framework is not working and what we can do to change it, and why, why all the things are about listening to Black women and lifting them up in politics and crafting a message that is inclusive, but it's not a big tent, meaning the least common denominator, but it's like, we need to do these things because these people need these things. So anyway, I'm not being very articulate about it, but she's got a sharp voice, and I appreciated this this book. So that was fun. Catching up with the chat. Barrett said that sounds fascinating and something we all deal with, loneliness. Yep. And of course, he loves Zerlina Maxwell. Love her show on one of the streams. Have to ask Ricky which one. And he thinks it's Peacock. It could be. Like, I don't watch TV. So I will catch her on interviews when she's on YouTube, unfortunately. But Mr. Blandis says cover looks nice. It's very clean design. Yep. Because our coalition isn't just white anymore. Nailing it. Yeah, exactly. And so I thought this was sharper and more, the language is hard here, but hard-hitting than Mediocre, which had some jabs, but was more conversational and anecdotal. So yeah, those, but very related and very in the mood. So I like this. Aha. Yeah, Barrett being more articulate here, I'll borrow his saying. Her whole thing is you have to deliver on some policies that the core voter base wants or needs. Totally. Right. And she used the phrase or the term Joe Lunchbucket in the context of Democrats chasing the disaffected white working class voters that went from Obama to Trump. And that's not the vote that you should be running after. And I thought, that's true. But the more I thought about that phrase, I thought, yeah, that's kind of like calling people deplorables. And I don't know if I should enjoy that or repeat that as much as I laughed when I heard her say it. But yeah, there we go. Okay, so End of White Politics. And I've got 2 more audiobooks here. We have The Day You Begin. So this is a definite switch up from my normal fare. This is Kidlit, if you can believe it, by Jaqcueline Woodson. Oh, it looks like I cut it off a bit. Sorry, guys. It's a beautiful cover. I'm assuming it's a beautiful children's book. It's not middle grade. It is a children's book. But I got this on Lero.fm, the sweetest smelling place for audiobooks in the world. And they're great. So I got to switch it up and listen to a children's book that deals with themes of not being wanted, not being welcome in a space, finding someone to tell your story to. And I was listening to this driving in the car, and it was obviously short as a children's story, but meaningful and a great book for kids. I would definitely recommend. So, and this is my first Jaqcueline Woodson. I know I'm behind the ball and I need to read more of her middle grade, young adult. I think she even does adult fiction. So like, I definitely need to get on that train. I've heard great things about Jaqcueline Woodson. So yeah. Just Eva is here. Hey, hey, hey. Go younger. The youth is the future. Zerlina for Prez. Cool. Eva is here. Yes, Spirit says he loves the cover of The Day You Begin. Looks adorbs, adding it to my list, says Eva. Yes. Yep. So positive kidlit, talking about safe spaces and not in the way that is ridiculed by others. Just like The Day You Begin is about the day you begin to live your truth, essentially, and when you stop caring about other people. So really, I think a lot of people only do that in their 40s. So, hey, time to visit the kidlit genre. What can I say? Yeah. All right. And the last one that I read as an audiobook, I also listened to while driving. It's called A House is a Body by Shruti Swamy. And I thought I would keep going with the Indian theme of listening to Gold Diggers and Together, which is by Vivek Murthy, who had immigrant parents. And so this is the third one. It was widely feted, great writing, and I will agree that the writing is beautiful, but it's very lyrical, and that is not something that I can focus on during a ride through the mountains. So I was listening and getting involved, and there's some steamy scenes right off the bat in these short stories. But for whatever reason, the narration doesn't stop very long between chapters, between stories. So I was through the first 4 trying to connect them all before I finally realized, like, these are separate stories. They don't have to relate when I'm trying to like relate everything together, who might be related to whom. So that was my error. But I DNF this, and I'm gonna have to either get a physical copy somewhere down the road, or I don't know, listen to it on a walk sometime in the future. But if you're in for beautiful writing and multi-generational and a relationship focus, I would say this would be a really nice read to try. House is a Body by Shruti Swamy. And that is our roundup for the audiobooks from our lovely Libro.fm. So we're going to go back to chats here. That is my silly question number 2. How much do you trust a groundhog as a meteorologist, and what is winter like in your area? Because not happening here. That's fine. Eva asks if I'm calling her old. I'm just saying, not caring what people think is a big step. And sometimes it's a step you have to keep taking and keep taking and keep taking. So I am here for all the people for whom that is their truth, because that is my truth. For serious. Barrett says she was calling us olds. Shannon's laughing as well. Hey, I'm in that club too, guys. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with you, or at least near you. So, yes. How much do you trust the groundhog? When I was coming up, I was driving on Groundhog's Day back from California to Oregon, and it was a beautiful day. So I assume whatever groundhog in California would have seen its shadow, which meant that we have 6 more weeks of winter. And since I've been back in Portland, I've got sucked in by fog in the morning till like 12 or 1. And that's delightful. Yes, it's a little cold. It's like 35 degrees, just above freezing. But I'm still doing my walks. I'm like getting out there, having fun. It's not even raining all that much, knock on wood. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of groundhogs. But you'll hear a different rodent that I'm actually a fan of later in the second roundup today. Let's see. Eva says Groundhog Day had heavy clouds and nearly a foot of snow where she is. I'd only trust a groundhog who stayed inside. Okay, fair point. Fair point. 0, screw that groundhog. Global warming's happening here. Yeah, everything is fine. Don't look up. Ooh, good movie reference for the win, Barrett. The groundhog is underpaid and should unionize. I love this. I love these. I'm getting hot takes in the chat here. You're walking in 30-degree weather. Yes, because, I mean, there's no ice, there's no snow, there's no precipitation. It's just cold out, so we're good. I haven't seen rain since September. I miss it. Oh, because it's snow instead of rain? Wow. You win, says Barrett. I have a floor temp of 45 before I do outdoor movement. Well, I'd be stuck inside and feel very, very sad throughout winter if I had that in Portland because, yeah. Eva says, I was considering ordering some swimsuits and hopping in the pool this week. Oh my goodness. Indoor pool? You have access to an indoor pool? My sister's family actually has a heated pool out in Texas. And I'm like, wow. And they had issues keeping it from freezing and like screwing with the lines that go in when it was so cold, and I was like, no shit you did. Eva says it's only going to hit the mid-50s, but the pool is heated. Yeah, gotcha. And Barrett says I want Eva's life. 64 in Florida, where Shannon is. Obviously, she's where we should have the party. Eva says we went sledding and there were folks swimming, and I'm like, we should totes go swimming. Yeah, right. Oof. Colorado, there are no rules there. Fair point. Fair point again. Yeah. You guys are crazy. I love it. I love it. All right. So enough with the snow. We got the weather questions out of the way. I didn't put this in my banners, but now is the time I reminded myself to like, share, comment, subscribe. Like Dan pointed out at the beginning, I was at 500, but then Barrett informed me they wait about a week before they give you the comment tab. So I was like, oh, I need to do a comment tab thing. And yeah, I gotta wait. That's fine. That's fine. We're okay. We're good. We're good. So second roundup, physical books. I finished 0 ebooks during January. So this is why we just have 2 separated by format. Physical book roundup. We're going to start with another overlay because we are. Boom. So you can't really see. This is a cookbook. I did go to the Barnes & Noble hardcover sale, and I went a little crazy. One of them was Maman, the cookbook by Elisa Marshall and Benjamin Sormonte. I don't know these people. It's one of those cookbooks because you're I would guess, thriving business. They're in New York City. They did French-themed things. Of course, they're all in New York City. And I was just sort of enchanted. And then I looked through and I was like, I really want to go there. I don't want to like try to cook like them or bake like them. So I took it back. But I did read through and, it was a nice style and, you cave. This is an example of me getting something and then realizing they're no longer the person that used to do those things. If anyone can relate to that, if you know what I mean. Like if you're a person who used to, I don't know, go to the gym for a long time regularly and then you don't anymore and then you do it and you're like, oh, this doesn't feel like who I am anymore. And you go, okay, I guess I need to change up or whatever. So that's what this cookbook was for anyone wondering. But it was very beautifully photographed and the chocolate chip cookies look amazing. So if you're near New York City, do try Maman, the bakery cafe. The the next one I have here, let's take that down, catch up on the comments. Oh, I didn't take it down. There we go. Barrett says, I can't do Florida, but 64 sounds nice. Truly. Eva says number 500. I guess I hit 500 again. I'm sure it's going to be fluctuating for a while. Though I follow on another YouTube account linked to the same email, so I'm unsure if it counts. Oh, you mean you clicked on it. Awesome. Thank you, Eva. We'll see. We'll see if they don't scrub that out in the aftermath. Barrett says, it will come back. Don't worry. They're weeding out inactive accounts. Every time you cross a milestone, YouTube will remove a few subs, but you'll cross it in a day or two and it will. That's what I figured. Yeah, we'll stick. There we go. Sounds good. YouTube is weird that way at the milestones. They always taketh, but you will cross it in the end. It's just YouTube stealing our joy. Well, yeah. Haven't seen that before. All right. So the next physical book roundup I have is Ecotopia by Ernest Callenbach. And this is one of the small books that I brought with me that was in a used book haul that I figured, I can leave this in California when I'm done. But then I forgot that I do wrap-ups and it would probably be back here. So anyway, I've got some, my system, some turned down at the top, which is good, and a few turned down at the bottom, which is bad. It's a sci-fi / dystopian thriller from the 90s, and it's talking about not exactly a Cascadia, but definitely like a California, Oregon breaks off from the U.S. secession and forms an eco-empire in Ecotopia. And someone from the U.S. goes to visit, and basically it's kind of like Jules Verne. He's going through an alternate reality where people have actually done something about climate. Ooh, and whether he comes around to their line of thinking and goes native, if you'll accept the phrase in this context, or not, that is the mystery. That it's journal entries, it's some stories that he's reporting and some journal entries that he's writing. So the structure is not really my style, but I really liked the thought experiment, so I think I'd give this 3.75. And as it's a short read, you could probably tear through it. So that was a good read. That was a good one. Gotta give yourself hope some way, right? That someone somewhere in some fictional landscape actually understands the problem and does something about it. So yeah, Ecotopia. Next, we have one of my big ambitious reads by Diane Setterfield, Once Upon a River. This was my buddy read with Katie Reads and Rants, and I will take some time to put the card up with our live discussion, which was the 3rd, already 5 days ago. It feels like yesterday. We had a great discussion about what we liked, the twists and turns, the style, the myth, the fact that there are alternate endings that you could believe, and just the deft writing ability of this author. Diane Setterfield is a master plotter, and it's not Easter eggs or red herrings. It's plotting in terms of, I picture walking down a hallway and being guided through curtains and doors and hallways and mirrors, and just it's so purposeful and intentional. And as you're going, you start to learn what the place must look like, and you're like, wow, the architect of this place is amazing. So I really enjoyed this. I think I gave it 4+ stars. It is long. there are some easy parts and whatever, but again, master stroke. Really love the author. Have read 2 of her works, and now I only have the 13th tale to go, which I heard is a winner. So hopefully that will be next. That's a good one. I'm catching up on the chat here. Eva says, when I stopped following on more than one, you 2 stopped unsubbing me. Oh, okay. Well, that's good to know. If YouTube is doing that mysterious unsub people from channels thing. Yeah, that's good to know. Thank you for that. Haven't been unsubbed in over a year. Interesting. Yeah, that's good to know. Barrett says, wonder if that's part of their checks when we hit milestones. Yeah, we're not bot accounts, but we do have more than one. That's interesting. I do have more than one channel too, but I think I've only used it like twice to try to, help someone's numbers. But cover doesn't give me sci-fi, but I'm intrigued. So the cover of Ecotopia has the landscape and city in it's San Francisco. It's been taken over. But then in the foreground is like, a monorail and a waterfall with a rainbow. So that's the Ecotopia. Should be, I'm not sure what that refers to. Maybe California breaking off and becoming its own Ecotopia. Eva turns down the bottom of pages if there's something I'm like, there you go, right? It's an easy system if you don't have access to like little tabs at the moment. That's what I default to. Interesting. Barrett writes in his journal, title, author, page, note. Okay, so he writes out. I wonder, so I'm thinking about Tiffany. TL Russ Lifestyle is the channel name. Tiffany has been doing Notion tutorials, and I need to be very intentional about what I put on Notion, because if I try to put all of my systems into Notion, it's going to be unmanageable. I don't think I'd want to put my reading notes in Notion because I don't need to ferry them around everywhere. I mean, unless I'm filming in different locations like I was this month. But definitely social media schedule and maybe writing schedule. I don't know. More on that later. We're going to be, doing something together. So that is something fun to look forward to. Eva's got to scamper away, pausing to catch the end when I return. Talk to everyone later. Bye, Eva. Thanks for coming. Barrett loves the Once Upon a River cover too. Yep. Very cool. Sci-fi when you get closer. There's a quote. Oh boy. I'm thinking about that on a date. Yeah, it's sci-fi when you get closer. Marilyn is here. Aloha. Hello, Marilyn. Barrett is also figuring out how he wants to jump into Notion. I know, the possibilities are so endless, right? For spreadsheet geeks, I feel like it could be a big win. So yeah, so we're caught up. My next book. Ooh, next book is an overlay. Is the other rodent that I'm excited about, which is funny to say, but A Solitude of Wolverines by Alice Henderson. This is another book that I became aware of because of A Mighty Blaze. I've interviewed her 3 times now for A Mighty Blaze, 2 with Sarah and 1 with Hank. She is a mystery writer, and she has 2 books out now in her mystery series with the same character. And it's a scientist in the field, a biologist who does field studies and stuff. And she's had an interesting childhood, so she's also kind of like, oh my God, I just had a flash. Did you guys ever watch The Pretender? That, I don't remember what network it was on, but it was like an action series where a guy was a genius and he grew up and he broke out of people who were trying to harness his genius, and he was constantly trying to evade them, but also solve crimes and help people. That's kind of the vibe that this gave me. But anyway, Pretender aside, Alice Henderson is a lovely human being. Her Instagram is full of beautiful nature pictures. So if you need more of that in your feed, go for that. But she also writes crime novels where people are getting murdered and stuffed into freezers, and, traps and science come into play, and you learn about animals. She does a lot of cool things with charities for I don't want to say animal rights because that hints at something different, but basically conservation efforts and the opposite of extinction, basically. So A Solitude of Wolverines was fast-paced, very thrilling. I loved the science bits. They didn't turn me off. Definitely kept me guessing because, I'm not the person who guesses the end. Let's be honest here. And yeah, set in Montana and going back from Montana to Boston, I think, where she's from. Little peeks into the character's life, but also just like super adventurous and wilderness survival / crime solving. So yes to this. And her next book is A Blizzard of Polar Bears. So she had this fun thing where the 2 first books didn't have animal collective nouns, so she got to make one up for her titles, because Wolverines doesn't have one, so she thought a Solitude, perfect. And polar bears didn't have one, so she thought a blizzard would do just fine. So love her, love to support her books. There we go. I am catching up here. Barrett watched The Pretender on NBC. Of course you did. Hey, Anita's here too. Anita loved that show. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Isn't it funny? MacGyver meets Mission Impossible. Yes, something like that. That's the vibe. Anita's here. Leo watched it too, right? Isn't this funny how like one show that, I don't know, ran for a few seasons like 20 years ago, and now we're like, oh yeah, whatever happened to that guy? Yep. Marilyn says, I love mysteries and animals. Gotta check it out. Yes, please do. Alice Henderson is great. I definitely recommend. I hope you like the style too. I liked it. I think you will. Like, I'm trying to think back to your recommendations and how you review things. I think you would. So hopefully so. All right. So Wolverines. Oh, our next one is not an overlay. So let's take that down. Our next one is what was supposed to be a research book, Clanlands by Sam Heughan and Graham MacTavish. And if any of you recognize these roughly handsome young gentlemen, they're two of the stars of Outlander, and Sam Heughan is the star and the male lead, I should say, and he has written a couple books, and this is like the third, not tangent, derivative. Okay, leaving aside the meaning of derivative, that means like you keep getting further away from the actual object and less of a true authentic thing. This is just like the third iteration of Diana Gabaldon's novel. Diana Gabaldon's novel turned into a TV series. TV series turned into a TV show about these two guys running around drinking, and then Sam journaling about the TV show, going around drinking and turning that into a book. And let me inform you, ladies and gentlemen, the next book after this is an almanac to help with the historic facts related to this book. So, okay, so we're getting to be like a little too many Xeroxes, a little too derivative, but this is still enjoyable. Whiskey, warfare, and a Scottish adventure like no other. And let me tell you what's in it, just so you can see if it would be for you. There is bouts of historical background. There is a lot of masculine ribbing about how tough each other is and how they can drive or how they can drink or silly things. And there's a little bit more than that than I needed, but that's fine. There was also some really great introspective stuff of the actors into their personal lives, just like talking about where they had come from, how they felt they identified with the history of their country, Scotland, and even a little bit of, I don't know, honest truth in there. So it wasn't really a research book, I think. Okay, so I did turn down a fair number at the top. Some of those were for fun and only one at the bottom. But I think I did one or two that were fun research ideas, those kind of things you seize on that are just small historical facts mentioned, and you're like, ooh, but I could see a story about that character or like that premise, and you sort of seize on it. That's how Remnants happened. But I mean, I guess I'll use it when I grade myself for my goals for January as a research book, because that was the intention. Just because it didn't turn out like that, it's not my fault. But yeah, I think I gave it like 3.75. I mean, well done. A nice variety of attitudes, and they switch back and forth between journal entries or POVs between the two actors on this trip. And you have the archetype of the old grizzly grump, and then you have the archetype of the young up and coming protagonist. I guess you would call Sam Heughan. So not enough pictures in that book. Let's see. Anita says, got some bad news, so not a great day. I'm so sorry, Anita. Oh, sending you good energy. That's a good thought. Yeah, let's all send Anita some good energy. Barrett says that's a nice way of saying toxic masculinity. Oh, what did I say? Roughshod. Oh, it's probably what I was ribbing. Yeah. Leo asks, when do we get the Outlander action figures and Playhouse? Oh, the action figures are out there. They're definitely out there. The Playhouse, I think that might have to be custom still, but I mean, you're not far. You're not far off. Like I said, derivative, Xerox, etc. But it's funny. One of the things I thought was really cool is that Sam Heughan said he was questioning whether he wanted to still try to make it as an actor when he got the audition for Outlander, because he was not able to pay the bills, and it had been, like a decade of him trying to audition and film and put out reels or whatever the equivalent is. And I'm like, oh, buddy, I feel ya. Like, authors out here doing the same thing. And yeah, so it's just a matter of faith and what's most important and what you prioritize. So yeah, so that was good. That was a good part of the book. I appreciated that. Do I have any more? I sort of have one more. Oh, I sort of have two more. So here's the one that I was working on in January, but is going on into February. Still haven't finished. I'm just over a half. That's over a halfway, I guess, if you can tell. Bria and I are glumping along. We'll be able to discuss this at some point. We're hoping for the end of January finish, but that did not happen with the driving. So we'll see. Keep you posted on that one. And then the other one that was just sort of secret comfort reading behind the scenes was Lord of the Rings. And I don't have these physically here except for Return of the King. But I have my mom's like 1967 editions, old ones. And so I'm very careful because they're mass market paperbacks and they're very crumbly. And I just went back to reread them when I was at home because it's been over 20 years and I was getting very sentimental talking to Lana Ex Libris and Rosie Cockshut and Amy at Potato Brarian, my little Lord of the Rings nerdery crew, about Lord of the Rings stuff. And for whatever, maybe it was TikTok. Anyway, there just seemed to be like a cloud of nostalgia about Lord of the Rings. And so I got sucked into that rabbit hole for a bit. So I thought I'd reread them. And I'm reading Return of the King and thinking, I've never read the appendices, but did I even read that book? I don't remember a lot of stuff in that last book. So that is very, very interesting. And hopefully I'll finish that soon. I finished 2 other books yesterday, very excited about. And I brought back a couple props to maybe use for future videos that have something to do with Lord of the Rings. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. Anita says Lego did come out with a medieval set. A medieval set of Outlander action figures, or is this something else that I'm missing? Oh, yes. Well, and the props in question were belonging to my brother, so I asked his permission, and you may see them on TikTok or on here. We'll see, or on Instagram Reels. Who knows? Who knows? It's all a big mess. But that is it. That is the 13 books that I read or DNF'd in January, which is pretty good. Last year was 20. I'm not going to hold myself to that standard every year, but I was, comparing, of course. And but I'm happy with 13, so we're good. Lego came out with a medieval Playhouse set. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. So that is my January report. It's sort of strange because I feel it's February 9th already. And, I read 5 books in February. And this feels very long ago, January reads. So, last question. What did I have for the last question? V-Day plans. So it's on a Monday, which is great. Great for everybody. And I was just going to reiterate the coming attractions, which are Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific. I have the panel with Nia, Leah, and Emily. It's easy to remember on historical and romantic elements, plots, and etc. I have some fun questions for that. Sunday is the Shakespeare sonnet Mad Libs with Martha Jones of Self-Righteousness, her first time live streaming. So I'm very excited to usher her into the madness. And I've just popped that up. So if you want to get your nouns, verbs, and adjectives ready in advance, you can go do that. It's in. Did I put it in the chat? Did I not? I didn't. See, I'm a dork. Here we go. Here it is for the chat. Boom. Oh, okay. Anita has explained this to me. Lego has a medieval playhouse, and it could be used as a stand-in for the action figures that I'm sure Outlander already has. Yes. Yes. Hope tomorrow was a better day, says Shannon. Good idea, Anita. Sending virtual hugs from Leo. There is the link for the Sunday show. The Black Author Tuber Readathon is ongoing. Leo is reading a book for that. Shannon is reading a book for that. Jenna O'Malley is reading a book for that. I have read 3 already. Very exciting. Ben Pick is reading a book for that. So, you want to get with the cool kids, sign up on the spreadsheet. Let me put that in the chat as well. And there's no commitment to the spreadsheet. It's just like letting us know who's participating because of the wonderful things he does. No, because we're going to be doing a wrap up together, Beth Ann and I, and I haven't asked her this, but I think we're going to be inviting all the people who have read to come on and cameo through, talk with us if they want. So put the 15th on your calendar, and I guess we'll make it an evening one so it's easier for people to join. So yeah, that's still in process, but hopefully that will make the readathon ending sort of fun and celebratory in March after everyone's done and processed and taking notes and anything like that. So very excited for that. Very grateful for anyone who is reading Black Author Tubers books along with me and with Beth Ann and all of you out there who are doing the same. And final V-Day plans question. No, you don't know. You don't have to answer this. So thank you for joining this wrap-up Wednesday. We will hope to catch you next month with the joint wrap-up of the Black Author Tuber Readathon. And until then, I'm very excited about these February reads. They're going very, very well, as you might say. So I hope you guys are having a good reading month, and I hope whatever turns around about the bad news, Anita, we're all pulling for you. And yeah, lots of things in train. Reach out if you have questions. Sundays on StreamYard still happening. I've got a form. I didn't put it in the description, but I will. If you want to join and just geek out about StreamYard stuff, I got several dates up. Thank you, Barrett, for helping me think through that. And the form is open for people who want to try it out with me. So that is the ish. All right. Well, I'll see you guys all later. Heart you, friend. Thanks, Barrett. We'll talk soon, everybody. Have a good rest of the week.